Hello, I'm Dr. Q. Welcome to my channel. This is the 5th class of Principles of Economics. In this video, I'll cover society's economizing problem using Production Possibilities Curve (PPC) model. The model is going to help us to identify the trade-offs and opportunity cost faced by a society in making production decisions. I started with the goal of a society and the means to achieve the goal. Then establish the production possibility curve model to simulate the real-world situation. Analysis for sources of production possibilities expansion is provided. In the end, several timely applications of production possibility curve model, such as the cost of war, cost of COVID-19 pandemic, are discussed. Last class, we covered individuals' economizing problem and interpret the trade-offs and opportunity cost using budget line. Today, let's move on to the society's economizing problem. It's kind of easy to perceive individuals' economizing problem as we are in it. Individuals want to acquire the most goods and services with the least budget to maximize their utility. What about a society? What does a society want? Well, society wants to satisfy the people within. If people want to eat pizza, society needs to devote itself in producing pizza. If people want amenities, society needs to make more available. If people want traveling or entertainment, corresponding effort needs to be devoted by the society. If people want new technology, society develops technology. If people want a better environment, society makes environmental protection agency available. No matter it's healthcare, education, criminal justice system, as long as people within the society demand, the society needs to produce and makes it available. However, the resources a society can employ to produce all types of goods and services are limited. That is the society's economizing problem. Because the scarce economic resources for production, the society has to pick and choose, make trade-offs, prioritize the production of some while forego the production of the other. Now, what are the things the society needs to use for production? All the natural, human, and manufactured resources that participate in the production of goods and services are called economic resources. There are 4 categories of economic resources. First category, land, refers to all natural resources used in production process that you can acquire from motherland. It includes oil, coal, natural gas, and other minerals, water, wind, solar, and forest, etc. This type of resource is not human-made. We need to access, extract, transport, or convert them to a more user-friendly format, but they are more of a gift from the nature. Second category, capital. In daily life, capital refers to Washington, D.C., or big letter. Or, as we're in economics, you think about financial assets like funds or money. Now you need a bit of a brainwashing to understand and memorize what capital means in economics. Capital refers to all the human-made production effort to produce easily and efficiently. In ancient time, humans used polished stone and arrow to make hunting easier. Stone and arrow were their capital. Nowadays, there are so many man-made effort needed in production process. We need to build factories for production to take place. We need machines, productive equipment, assembly lines, industrial robots for massive production. We also need storage and transportation to distribute the products. There are several clarifications I'd like to make. First of all, capital goods are made to produce other things easily, while consumer goods are made to satisfy wants now. Water to drink, food to eat, clothes to wear, entertainment to enjoy, movies to watch, music to listen, books to read, cars to drive or commute. Most of the stuff we see in the house are consumer goods. Capital goods cannot bring satisfaction, utility, or happiness directly now. But capital goods will help to better satisfy future wants or future production needs by enabling the economy to produce a greater amount of goods or services in the future. Second of all, in economics, capital is not money or any financial resource. Actually, money does not belong to any category of economic resource. You may say that money can buy us the machines and energy, hire people, etc. However, money does not directly participate in production itself and therefore is not an economic resource. Lastly, I'd like to introduce another economic term here: investment. In economics, investment refers to the money spent to pay for the production and accumulation of capital goods. So you can take investment as a proxy of the monetary value of new capital. The third category is labor. In daily life, when we come across the term labor, we tend to think of blue collar. In economics, labor refers to all human productive effort, both physical and mental production activities. The workers at the assembling lines at Chevy contribute to production of vehicles. Their work are labor. Farmers contribute to the production of produce, meat, crops. Their work are labor. People like me, the part of my work that involves developing and presenting lectures in economics, which is the service my students pay for, this part of my work is labor. Work by engineers, professional football players, movie producers, nuclear physicists, all or partially contribute to the production of goods or services. They in general fall into the category of labor. The last category is entrepreneur ability. It is also a human resource, but it is different from labor, as entrepreneurs perform several critically unique and important functions. First, entrepreneurs put the right person on the right job, combine the other three categories of a resource in the right proportion. They also coordinate and advance the production procedure. Second, entrepreneurs make strategic decisions to manage and operate the business. Third, they innovate and commercialize new products and services, new techniques, new formats for organizing businesses. Fourth, entrepreneurs bear risk of innovation and decisions. Not all innovations or new products are profitable. Entrepreneurs have to bear the loss of the effort, time, and financial resources devoted. In sum, both labor and entrepreneur ability are human resources. One simply contributes to the production of new goods and services. The latter one manage, innovate, and bear loss. Let me give you an example. If you like to operate a lemonade stand in summertime, lemon, water, sugar, ice are your natural resource. Citrus juicer, knives, cooler, cart are your capital. The work of making and distributing lemonade is labor. After the production of lemonade, you also have to make decisions like where to sell, at what price, any approaches to increase the sale, etc. Those are entrepreneurial ability. Economics. As economic resources participate in the production of new goods and services, if you can imagine a pipeline of production, the economic resources jump in at one end, and some new goods and services jump out at the other end. In that sense, in firm theory, economic resources such as land, capital, labor, entrepreneurial ability are called factors of production, or input, while final products or services are called output. Now I have a question. Is technology economic resource? I bet a certain group of you says yes, as technology is so important and essential in production. It makes our daily and production life so easy, like magic. But wait a second. I said there are 4 and only 4 categories of economic resources, and I just finished covering them. And technology is not one of them. Technology surely is important, but it has to go through technology transfer, which consists of actions taken in these flows of development to realize the quality as designed during the manufacture. Technology brings us productive machines, tools that fulfill massive production, educated workers who are more adaptable to new production. Technology also helps us to access previously inaccessible natural resources, utilize new energy, and make the production procedure sustainable. Although technology helps us be more productive and efficient, it cannot make have not to have. It does not participate in the production directly. It is not economic resource. So far, I covered the goal of a society and the scarce resources to achieve the goal. In real world, the society works like an amazing, extraordinary, massive machine to produce and distribute varieties of goods and services. Here's a summary of manufacture categories reported by the U.S. Bureau of Census. In order to understand and analyze the society's economizing problem, I like to establish a model to simulate but also simplify the real-world situation. We also assume that technology is constant in short run. Let's imagine that we have a small bakery, producing and only producing 2 types of bread, loaf bread and Swiss roll. In this little bakery, we have all the raw material for production such as flour, oil, sugar, eggs, etc. The capital for production such as oven, machines, and tools are ready to use. There are 3 workers, Jay, Joe, and John, and me as the manager. Make sure they work non-stop to the full capacity of the bakery during business hour. That's the meaning of having limited and fixed amount of economic resources, and it takes full use of everything. There is no unemployment. While the 3 workers, Jay, Joe, John, are good in producing all bread, they have their specialty and preference. These tables show each of the workers' production ability for a given amount of time, assuming that the worker focuses on one task at a time without multitasking. If J focuses on production of bread, he can produce 50 loaves of bread, no Swiss roll. If he produces and only produces Swiss roll, he can produce no bread and 10 units of Swiss roll. Apparently, he is good at producing bread. Joe is more well-rounded worker. If he only works on bread, 30 loaves of bread and no Swiss roll are produced. Alternatively, Joe only produces Swiss roll, then 0 loaves of bread and 20 Swiss rolls are produced. Lastly, John can produce 20 loaves of bread and no Swiss roll if he focuses on bread production. Alternatively, no bread and 30 Swiss rolls is a combination if John devotes all the effort on Swiss roll production, which he is better at. Now, let's think about all the possible production combinations this bakery has. If I have a huge order on bread production that I have to put all the help on bread production, I can get 100 loaves of bread from Jay, Joe, John. But this time, nobody produced any Swiss roll. Next day, the demand for bread is alleviated. I want to switch one person from bread production to Swiss roll production. Among J, Joe, John, who should be switched? We want to switch a person that increased the production of Swiss roll the most, without sacrificing much of bread production. We surely don't want to switch J, because he is most good at producing bread, least good at producing Swiss roll. Instead, John apparently is the right person. After switching John, we're producing 20 fewer loaves of bread, while gaining 30 Swiss rolls production. If I want to produce more Swiss roll and have to switch another person on Swiss roll production, next person I need to switch is Joe. After switching Joe, Jay is the only person left for producing bread, 50 loaves, while Joe and John together can produce 50 Swiss rolls. Lastly, if I want to devote all the effort producing Swiss roll, I'll get 60 Swiss rolls, but 0 loaf bread. Now, we can plot all the production combinations on two-dimensional axis set. Here I put the number of Swiss roll production on vertical axis and the number of bread produced on horizontal axis. It does not matter if you flip them. The curve is called Production Possibilities Curve, PPC, or Production Possibilities Frontier, PPF. The production possibility curve is important in threefold. Firstly, it tells us the production combinations that are attainable and the ones that are unattainable. The points on the production possibility curve exhaust all the economic resources and run at the society's full capacity. There is no unemployment. Therefore, those points are attainable and efficient. Efficient in the sense that we do our best with what we have. The points within the production possibility curve are also attainable, but do not exhaust economic resources. We could produce more goods and services by moving to the production possibility curve. Therefore, they are inefficient. The points beyond the production possibility curve are unattainable as we do not have corresponding amount of resource or advanced technology to achieve. Secondly, as we move from left to right to increase the production of bread, we have to give up the production of Swiss rolls. These are the trade-offs we have to make during production. Alternatively, it costs the production of bread to produce more Swiss roll. It's like the budget line we learned before. The curve is downward sloping, expressing the core of an opportunity cost. When the economy is efficient and operating at a full capacity on production possibilities curve, the only way to get more of one good is to give up the production of the other good in short run. Let's do a practice before moving on to the third feature. Please pause and come back for answers. Alright, the setting of the question assumes that there are two goods for production, guns and butter. This is a classic example for production possibility curve, and I will talk more later. On the graph, points on and within the production possibility curve, A, B, C are attainable. Point A is within the production possibility curve, means the society could do better by moving towards production possibility curve. Therefore, A is inefficient. B, C on production possibility curve are efficient. Points beyond the production possibility curve, D, E, are unattainable. Do you understand? Thirdly, there is difference between production possibility curve and budget line. Budget line is a straight line, while production possibility curve is concave to the origin. Why is that? Because there is one unique assumption built in our model. While Jay, Joe, John, my bakery workers, are good at producing all bread, they have their specialty and preference. This is true in real world. Economic resources such as labor, capital, land, entrepreneur ability are not completely adaptable to alternative uses. For example, although some people are quite well-rounded, most people are specialized in certain fields because of education or training or personal preferences. I'm specialized in applied microeconomics and industrial organization. Because of my interest of research and training, I have a PhD in that, but it may be scary to put me in operating room and work as a surgeon without any training. My cousin is prohibited to do any laundry because she will put everything like jeans, silky shirts, white towels, or colorful socks in one load. Pink towels are not desirable, but she is allowed to do the folding part. Some people are great in math. Some people are born social. Some people are handy. Some people are gifted in singing or painting, etc. We need to put the right person or economic resource on the right position. That's also part of entrepreneur ability. If we keep pursuing the production of a single product, let's say food or meal, by sacrificing the production of the other, let's say automobiles, with a limited amount of workers, as we keep demanding more food, we need more help in kitchen, and we have to divert workers who work on assembling automobiles onto kitchen help. And more than likely, auto workers do not work as great chefs. They may even generate big nets. Therefore, the consequence is we sacrifice more automobiles production in exchange for a small amount of extra food, if not less. In sum, the production possibility frontier shaped like that, bow out or concave to the origin, as opposed to a straight line. As we increase the production of bread by a constant number, let's say 20 units, we have to sacrifice a larger and larger amount of Swiss rolls production. The opportunity it costs us to produce one additional unit of bread in perspective of Swiss roll production increases. This is called the law of increasing marginal opportunity costs. Now, why is there a law of increasing marginal opportunity costs? Because economic resources are not completely adaptable to alternative uses. Actually, as you will see often in economics that, unfortunately, all good, desirable things such as marginal benefits, marginal utility, marginal returns, marginal production, marginal revenue will eventually decline, decrease, shrink, go down. And all bad, undesirable things such as marginal cost will eventually increase or go up. Previously, we said that all points on production possibility curves are efficient. Does it mean that as a society, we can just pick any random points as the production combination as long as they're on the production possibility curve? Intuitively, that's not the way to go. So how can we decide on the optimal production level? Using the tool we learned before, marginal analysis in Lecture 2. Marginal analysis tells us that we should pursue an activity as long as marginal benefit is larger than marginal cost, stops at marginal benefit equals marginal cost, and cut back whenever marginal benefit is smaller than marginal cost. If this is a hypothetical marginal benefit and marginal cost graphical expression perceived by the society for bread production, we should produce at 50 units of bread. And 50 units of Swiss rolls, as opposed to any other points on the curve. A quick summary. Because economic resources are not fully adaptable to alternative use, there is a law of increasing marginal opportunity cost. We have production possibility curve as a concave line. This is different from budget line. In budget line, our constraint is money. Money is money. Money can get us equally monetary value amount of goods. It's not like a $100 bill issued by Federal Reserve Bank at Atlanta is more good at buying food, while a $100 bill issued by Federal Reserve Bank at New York is more good at buying cars. But in society's production problem, the constraint is economic resources, and they are more suitable to the production of certain goods and services. If, hypothetically, economic resources are completely adaptable to alternative use, just like money, then production possibility curve would also be a straight line. and there is constant marginal opportunity cost. Of course, generally speaking, this is not true in real world. In real world, we have economic resources not fully adaptable to alternative use, law of increasing opportunity cost, and a concave production possibility curve. Let's do another practice. Please pause and come back for the answer. Point C represents production of 11 units of butter and 12 units of gum. From point C, moving along the production possibility curve, 2 additional gums is going to bring us to point B, 14 gums and 10 units of butter. Therefore, it costs us 1 unit of butter to gain 2 gums. Did you get it? Now you may ask, hey, why do you keep using example of butter and gums? Who cares? Why don't you give us some cool examples like the production of Jordan shoes or Xbox? Well, this is a classic example as it provides us insight about the cost of war. This example using guns and butter as metaphors became popular during one of the world wars. Guns represent military goods, while butter is civilian goods. Generally speaking, military goods are produced for military affairs, while civilian goods are produced for the well-being of non-military people or society. The economic resources within a country is given at a certain time point. If we produce more of one good, we have to divert resources from producing another good. Assume prior to the year of 2001, U.S. society produced at point A. More resources are allocated in civilian goods production, while limited amounts of military goods are produced. After 9/11, the perceived benefit of military goods increased. U.S. society is distracted from civilian goods production and allocate more resources in military goods production to point B. As summarized on the website of Brown University website, the U.S. federal price tag for the post-9/11 wars is over $6.4 trillion, on top of the costs in other format. So far, we have been discussing production possibility curve in a relatively static situation. We focus on a certain time period with limited fixed resources and technology. But when we extract more natural resources, invent better machines, employ more educated workers, develop effective business strategies, or enjoy another technology advancement, those generates more production possibilities combinations and move the production possibility curve to the right-hand side. We call it production possibility curve expansion. It has another more macroeconomics name, economic growth. In my little bakery example, imagine that I hire another help, Jane, Jones, J, Joe, John, to make Swiss rolls and bread. More of everything can be produced. It will make previously unattainable production combinations now attainable. This topic will also be covered in economic growth in macroeconomics. In economics world, there are so many options to make. Although the marginal analysis is the tool to help us to make a decision, the perceived benefit is the key in analysis. For example, are you a person of living on a deferred enjoyment life? If you value the enjoyment more, higher benefit is associated with the current enjoyment. And if future is valued more, higher benefit in future enjoyment. Let's say that two groups of activities. When business gains profit, is it going to be distributed among shareholders as dividends or used as investment for capital accumulation and produce more efficiently and potentially generate more profit in future? Take a job or pursue further study, spend all the income one has or save some. All of those decisions involve trade-offs between now and the future. Here are two identical production possibility curves. The society on the left perceive a bigger benefit on present consumption, decide to allocate more resources on producing goods and services to satisfy needs and wants today, say consumer goods. Less resources on producing goods to increase the production capacity in future, say capital goods. The society on the right does the opposite. It values more of the consumption in future, therefore puts more resources on capital goods that enables a greater amount of goods services in future, less consumption goods. The society on the right tends to enjoy more production possibilities combinations in future. I fully covered the situation of movement along the production possibility curve and production possibility curve expansion. But is it possible for production possibility curve contraction, which means production possibility area shrinks? Yes. Here is a timely example: COVID-19 pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, limited economic resources in the world are allocated in fighting coronavirus. Then people got sick or even died after being infected. There's less readily trained labor work for production. Therefore, the production possibilities area shrink. On top of that, a significant amount of resources are diverted onto producing goods and services fighting COVID-19. And there's more. Because of a lockdown to conduct social distancing, businesses either shut down or permanently close. Unemployment rate skyrocketed. The society does not take full advantage of the labor and resources available for production. It produces within production possibility curve, which is inefficient. The overall cost of COVID-19 pandemic is challenging to calculate. Underestimation is the issue. That's all I have for this video. I'll talk about market and demand in next one. Thank you for watching. Please like or share the video and subscribe my channel for more lectures in economics.